I opened my eyes, and two things hit me at once. First, it was morning. Second, I wasn't where I was supposed to be. The windshield was fogged. Rain was tapping on the glass in slow, steady drips. Not a storm, just that kind of soft drizzle that soaks into your bones. The kind that makes you feel like the world's holding its breath. My hands were on the wheel, cold, tight, and I was still in the driver's seat. Engine off, no music, no headlights. But outside, nothing looked right. There was a gas station across the road I'd never seen in my life. The road signs were wrong. Desert scrub had turned into something greener, like I'd climbed into another state without ever touching the gas. And the sky, not pitch black like it should have been, not that deep 3 a.m. silence I remembered. No, it was glowing, pale, bluish, like morning had already been here for a while. And that's when I saw it, the GPS, 207 miles. It said I'd traveled over 200 miles since the last pin I remember dropping. 3 hours, gone. I blinked, opened the door. The air was thick, humid, smelled like dirt and wet concrete. Not the dry, sharp night I'd been driving through. And the rain still falling, still whispering on the roof like it never stopped. I stood there for maybe a minute, maybe more. Truck door wide open, cold water dripping off the edge of the roof onto my shoulder, trying to breathe, trying to pull together the last thing I could remember. The last real, grounded, solid memory. All I had was a stretch of highway, empty as hell, somewhere past Albuquerque. It was dark. I was tired. I remember telling myself, just 2 more hours. You've done worse. And then, I must have blinked, not slept, not dreamed, just blinked. And now I was here, 200 miles away, truck parked, engine off, no memory of the drive, no gas receipts, no pit stop. And worse, hon, I had this feeling I hadn't been alone. Not in the truck, not in my head. The silence around me wasn't empty. It was expectant, like something was waiting to see what I'd do next. I climbed back in, closed the door. Rain was still ticking on the windshield, soft even, like a metronome. And when I reached for my phone, it was dead. No battery, no music history, no GPS record. Just that empty screen, like I'd been erased. And still, something about the seat next to me felt off. I looked over at it, passenger side, seatbelt hanging loose. For the life of me, I couldn't remember. Had it always been that way? Had someone been sitting there? I reached out, touched the fabric. It was warm, like someone had just gotten out. It took me a few minutes to start breathing normal again. Not because I was panicking, not exactly, but because something felt misaligned. Like I'd woken up in the same body, but the world around it had shifted 2 inches to the left. The rain hadn't stopped, still whispering across the windshield, slow and steady. The kind of rain that doesn't wash anything away, just stays, clings, reminds you it's there. I reached down to the ignition, half expecting the truck not to respond, but the engine turned over, same as always. A low growl, like nothing was wrong. Nothing, except I had no idea how I'd gotten here. I checked the GPS again. The road history showed a straight line, clear as day, as if I'd driven through the night on autopilot. Like I'd done the job, no questions asked. Like I was never missing. But I was. I had been. I still was. I rubbed my face hard, trying to shake off the fog in my brain. It wasn't just memory loss. I've pulled all-nighters before, skipped sleep, driven through worse. This was different. This felt like my brain had skipped a reel. 1 minute I was on the road outside Albuquerque, tired but focused. And the next, I was here, wherever here was. The sign said Santa Rosa, but that didn't mean much. I'd never meant to come this far. I was supposed to sleep in Moriarty, catch a few hours at the truck stop there. I remembered even thinking about what snack I'd grab. I remembered fighting to stay awake, The hum of the tires, the way the yellow lines blurred after midnight, and then nothing. No nodding off, no sleep, no dreams, just gone. I reached for my phone again, still dead. I plugged it into the dashboard. Nothing happened. Dead. And then I realized the cord wasn't mine. It looked the same, sure, black, frayed a little at the base, but it wasn't mine. The end was slightly melted, like it had been too close to a lighter. I never let my cords get like that. That's when the itching started, that low, crawling feeling at the base of the spine. The kind you get when something's behind you, even though you know it isn't. I looked in the rear view. Nothing. Just the back of the cab. Dark, empty, still. I turned the wipers on. The blades dragged across the glass with a tired, scraping sound, like they'd been left on too long the night before. And I said it out loud, maybe to hear my own voice. What the hell is happening? My voice sounded dry, hoarse, like I hadn't spoken in hours, or like someone else had been using it. I shook that off, hard. Paranoia, sleep deprivation. That's all. Still, something didn't add up. I opened the glove box. It was already unlatched. Inside, receipts, not mine. Crumpled, damp. Gas stations I hadn't visited. A candy bar wrapper I'd never buy. I don't eat chocolate on long drives, gives me headaches. And a napkin, folded neatly, with the name Mary written in blue ink. No number, just the name. One word. Mary. I didn't know any Mary, but it wasn't the name that chilled me. It was the handwriting. Feminine, rounded, and weirdly familiar. Like I'd seen it on a birthday card once, or in a note I wasn't supposed to read. I closed the glove box slowly, then glanced over at the passenger seat again. The fabric was still warm, and this time, I saw something else. A long strand of dark brown hair caught in the seatbelt, curled there like it had been yanked loose during a struggle. I stared at it for a long time, not touching it, just listening. The rain on the roof, the low hum of the engine, the ticking of the wipers, no breathing, no movement. But it felt like the truck had already heard this story before, like it remembered even if I didn't, and I couldn't shake the feeling. The deeper I went into this, the more I was going to find things I didn't want to know, or worse, things I'd already known once and forgotten on purpose. I thought maybe if I got out, walked around the truck, got some air, it would clear my head. But the moment I stepped down from the cab, it got worse. The ground squished under my boots. Not mud exactly, just wet gravel soaked through. Still raining, still that soft, persistent rhythm tapping on my shoulders. The roof, the hood, like fingers drumming on a coffin. The sky was heavy, like it wanted to collapse. No lightning, no thunder, just that endless, gray curtain pressing down from above. I looked around. Same empty stretch of road. Gas station behind me. One car at the pump. Empty, not running. And then I saw it. My reflection. In the driver's side mirror, I stopped. Not because of what I saw, but because it took me too long to recognize myself. My face was pale, eyes darker than I remembered, beard thicker than it should have been for just one night. Or had it been more? My shirt, soaked around the collar. But I didn't remember any rain before waking up. And then I touched my jacket. It was damp. No, soaked. But the seat had been dry when I woke up. And the air inside the cab, it hadn't felt cold enough to match what I was feeling now. That's when I knew something was wrong. Not just memory loss wrong. Wrong in the way that makes your teeth ache. I climbed back inside, slowly, like maybe someone had been sitting in my seat and I didn't want to disturb them. The cab smelled different. Not like me. Not like fast food, sweat, diesel, which is what it's supposed to smell like. It smelled like flowers, faint, sweet, fading, like someone had worn cheap perfume hours ago and left it behind. I sat there for a while, not starting the engine, just listening. Rain on the windshield, rain on the roof, rain in the silence, and under it, something else. My mind was working in loops, trying to find an answer that made sense. Did I pick someone up? Did I stop for a hitchhiker? Did I black out? No. No way. I don't pick people up. I don't trust anyone that far. Not on these roads. Not at night. Then why couldn't I remember? I reached across to the passenger seat, slowly, fingertips grazing the fabric. Still warm, still wrong. Then, I saw it. Right there in the footwell, under the seat, a napkin, crumpled, stained, and beside it, a ring of condensation, like someone had left a bottle there. Recently, I leaned closer and froze, carved, scratched, really, into the plastic near the glove box was something I hadn't seen before. 3 letters, uneven, rough, as if someone had done it fast, maybe with a key or a coin. MS, I whispered it, not out loud, more like it escaped me. MS, it meant nothing, but it felt heavy, like those letters were waiting, watching, testing if I remembered something I shouldn't. And then came the feeling, that awful, clenching certainty. I hadn't been alone in the truck, not just last night, longer, maybe much longer. And the thing that scared me most, what if I'd been sharing this space, this truck, this body, without ever realizing it? What if there were pieces of me I'd never been awake to see? I pulled out of the gravel slowly, like I didn't want to wake something, and crossed the narrow strip of road toward the gas station. The rain kept following, not loud, not aggressive, just steady, persistent, like a whisper in a language I almost understood. The gas station looked old, not run down, but worn. The kind of place that's been there too long, where the lights hum even when they're off, and the paint has peeled in the same pattern for years. One overhead light flickered above the door, casting shadows that twitched every time a raindrop landed on the lens. I parked, engine still idling. Sat there for a second, 2, 10, couldn't make myself move. Then, finally, I stepped out. The bell above the gas station door jingled as I entered, sharp and sudden. Too loud for a place this quiet. Inside, the air was thick with something old. Dust, coffee, something sweet and rotten underneath. Behind the counter stood a man, maybe mid-60s, gray beard, eyes like polished stones. He looked up at me like he'd been expecting someone, but not sure if it was me. "You're back," he said. I stopped walking. "What?" "You were here earlier. What hour, maybe 2? He nodded slowly. "Didn't think you'd be back so soon." I stared at him, blinking like I hadn't heard right. "No," I said, "I wasn't." He raised an eyebrow. "Had the same jacket, same truck, same face, man." I didn't answer. Couldn't. I just walked to the coffee station, tried to buy myself a few seconds of normal. But my hands were shaking. He kept talking. "You didn't say much last time either. Had someone with you, though. She stayed in the truck." I dropped the coffee cup. It hit the counter, rolled, bounced off, landed on the floor with a soft, paper thud. He didn't react, just kept looking at me like I was the one lying. "What did she say?" I asked, not knowing why. He shrugged. "Didn't come in, just saw her face through the windshield. Seemed nervous, like she didn't want to be seen." I gripped the edge of the counter. "Are you sure?" He narrowed his eyes. "Yeah, I'm sure. We've only had 3 customers all night, and 2 of them were teenagers buying beer and lottery tickets." He turned slightly, pointed at a dusty security monitor mounted above the fridge. "You want to see?" Everything in me screamed no, but I nodded. He tapped a button under the screen. Static flickered, then a timestamp. 2:17 a.m. I watched. There I was, my truck pulling in, headlights slicing through the rain. Me stepping out, same jacket, same gait. Then, movement on the passenger side. The window reflected just enough light to catch a shape, a figure, head turned, hair dark. Couldn't make out the face, but someone was sitting there, still, watching. She didn't get out, the old man said. Just sat there while you went inside. Then you both left. I didn't remember any of it. I couldn't have faked it that well. Not the steps, not the way I moved, not the look on my face. And yet, there I was, doing something I couldn't recall, with someone I didn't know, or maybe had chosen to forget. I looked at the monitor one last time before turning away, and there was a moment, barely a second, where the reflection in the truck window caught something. Me, smiling. Not a happy smile, not even a tired one. Something else entirely, like I knew what was coming, like I'd wanted it. Back in the truck, I sat with the engine off, wipers frozen mid-arc, rain streaking down the glass like veins, crooked, relentless. The kind of rain that doesn't wash anything clean, just spreads things thinner. My hands were still shaking, not from the cold, not from the caffeine I never drank, from something deeper, like my nerves remembered a sound my ears had forgotten. I leaned over and popped the glove box open again. Not slow this time. Like if I did it fast enough, the fear wouldn't catch up to me. Inside, receipts, wrappers, a cracked pair of sunglasses, and something else. A phone. Small, old, off-white. Not mine. Not even close. It was an iPhone. One of the older ones. The kind with the round button and the thick bezel. A tiny floral sticker was peeling off the back. A daisy, faded and half-torn. I didn't touch it at first. I just stared. That phone hadn't been there before. I was sure of it. I'd opened the glove box earlier, checked it, studied it, practically emptied it. And yet, here it was, sitting like it had always been. I picked it up, slowly, like it might bite. It was cold, damp around the edges, and heavier than it should have been. I pressed the button. The screen blinked, dim, 3% battery, no lock code, just opened right up. First thing I did was check the call log. Nothing recent, messages, empty. Then I opened the photo gallery, 3 pictures. My stomach turned before my thumb even tapped the screen. Like my body knew before I did. The first photo was the inside of the cab, taken from the passenger seat. Me, both hands on the wheel, staring ahead, eyes wide, unblinking, like I'd been told to hold still. I couldn't tell what time it was taken, but I was wearing the same clothes, same wet collar, same tension in the shoulders. The second photo was from outside the truck, through the rain-specked window. I was still in the driver's seat, and next to me, a woman. Her face was turned just enough to blur in the glare, but she had long, dark hair, pulled behind one ear. No smile, no expression, just stillness, like she was waiting for something to begin or end. And then the third photo. It hit harder than the others, because it wasn't just a shot of the cab, it was the rear view mirror, taken from the back seat, like someone had been sitting right behind us. In the reflection, my face, smiling again, and hers, pale, tense, looking slightly away, like she didn't want to be seen, or didn't know she was being seen. My fingers trembled around the phone. The screen dimmed again, 2% now. I stared at that last photo, and for a split second, I felt something. Not fear, not guilt, recognition, like I'd already lived this scene before, like that smile in the mirror was meant for me, only I didn't know which one I was. The phone buzzed. I didn't move at first, just stared at the screen as it lit up in my hand. No caller ID, no number, no name. Just that cold, anonymous text glowing through the raindrops, still clinging to the cracked glass. I hesitated. The cab was silent, except for the rain, still falling like it had nowhere else to go. Then I answered. At first, nothing. Just static. Faint, like wind scraping across a wire. Then a voice. Low, calm, male, not rushed, not emotional. Just familiar in the way you don't want something to be familiar. You said you wouldn't remember. I froze. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. We had a deal, the voice said. Not angry, just final. You promised. I found words, somehow. Who is this? A pause, then, it's already started again, hasn't it? My throat felt dry. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, and you do. There was something in the way he said it, like he knew exactly where I was, what I was seeing, what I'd found in the glove box, what I'd felt when I looked at that photo. You weren't supposed to come back here, the voice went on. Not after last time. I think you have the wrong... The voice cut me off, sharper now. You're trying to make sense of it. I get it. Everyone does. The first few times are the worst. I looked around the cab. The rain was louder now. Or maybe it was just closer. The windows were fogging. Fast. I don't know who you are, I said. And I didn't agree to anything. The voice went quiet, for just long enough to make me think the call had dropped. And then, with almost sympathy, it said, "You will." Then the call ended. No click, no goodbye, just silence. So sudden it made my ears ring. I stared at the phone, still 2% battery, still damp in my hand. No call history, no log, no missed number, like the whole thing had never happened. I looked up. The windshield was completely fogged now. The world outside was nothing but blurred light and motion. But somewhere in that fog, I thought I saw movement, a flicker in the side mirror. I turned fast, heart pounding, but there was nothing there. Just the empty road, the glowing gas station behind me, and the steady, endless sound of the rain, like it was washing something away that didn't want to go. I didn't drive. I couldn't. I just sat there, breathing through my teeth, gripping the wheel like it might float away if I let go. The rain didn't stop. It just got heavier, like it knew something I didn't, and it was trying to say it. Every drop on the roof was a word I couldn't understand. I turned the phone over in my hand, that old iPhone, once, twice, like maybe the right side would tell me more than the left. But it just sat there, lifeless again. Dead screen, 1% now. I opened the glove box again, half expecting it to be empty this time. But no, everything was still there. The receipts, the wrapper, the name Mary in blue ink, still waiting. I reached down into the footwell on the passenger side, wiping condensation off the inside of the window as I leaned. And then my fingers brushed against something cold, small, hard. I picked it up. It was an earring, silver, maybe fake, shaped like a teardrop, a tiny red stone in the center. Not blood red, not ruby, just off. I held it up to the light, and for a second I saw it. Just a flicker, a strand of dark hair stuck to the clasp. I didn't breathe. I looked around again. The mirrors, the seats, the dash, expecting someone, anything to be there. But I was still alone, still just me. Then I saw it. On the passenger side floor, under the edge of the seat, a smear, dark, dry. I reached out slowly, brushing it with my fingertips. Sticky, flaky. It had soaked into the carpet at some point, but not recently. It was old, but not old enough. I jerked my hand back like I touched a live wire. My breath caught in my chest. I wasn't afraid yet. Not really. It hadn't hit that full-body panic. Not until I looked up and saw the dashboard. Scratched across the surface, just above the glove box, 3 letters. MS still there, still carved in. Not an illusion, not my imagination. That was when the smell hit me. Not blood, not quite. Something metallic and sour, like fear. You ever smell that? Fear? It's real. It clings. It's in the fabric, the vents, the lining of your coat. And I knew, right then, I wasn't reacting to what I saw. I was remembering. Somewhere deep in my gut, I'd been here before, seen this earring, touched that smear, smelled this moment. I tried to rationalize, tried to talk to myself out loud, like that would anchor me. Maybe she dropped it. Maybe she got a nosebleed. Maybe I hit a deer and forgot. But I was lying. I could hear it in my own voice. I didn't forget. I buried it, and it was starting to come back. Then something shifted. The cab creaked, just slightly, like someone moved. I spun around, fast, but the back seat was still empty, still dark. I looked down at the earring in my palm, the little red stone, the strand of hair, and for the first time since this all started, I whispered the name, not loud, not strong, just quiet. Mary. It felt wrong in my mouth, but not unfamiliar. I don't remember taking a breath after that. Not really. I just sat there, rain hammering on the roof now, heavier than before. Like the sky had finally made up its mind to drown the whole world. The earring still sat in my palm, red stone catching bits of light from the gas station behind me. I stared at it, and for the first time I felt something sharp push through the fog in my head. Not a memory, not clear enough, but something close. A glimpse, a shiver, a sound, a woman's voice. Not words, just the shape of them. I turned the iPhone on again. Screen flickered. 1%. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I opened the gallery again. Same 3 photos. Except there was a 4th. It hadn't been there before. I swear to God, I know what I saw earlier. 3 pictures. Now there were 4. The new one was darker, blurrier, like it had been taken in a rush. The angle was from the driver's side, from outside the truck, maybe standing in the rain, looking in, through the glass. My face was clear, smiling again. Only this time, my hand was raised, pressed gently around a woman's neck. Not squeezing, not violent, just holding, like I didn't want her to leave, or like I was waiting for her to stop struggling. She looked terrified, not dramatic, not screaming, just frozen. Eyes wide, lips parted, hair stuck to her face from the rain. And me, I looked calm, peaceful almost, like this was part of the plan. The screen dimmed again. The battery warning pulsed red. And I realized something, a detail I hadn't noticed before. In every single photo, I was wearing the same jacket, the same shirt, the same scratches on my hand. The ones I'd just noticed an hour ago. These weren't from weeks ago, these were tonight. I dropped the phone like it was burning. It hit the floor and landed face up. Black screen, dead. I didn't pick it back up. Instead, I reached for the real phone, my phone, which had finally come back to life on the charger. The screen glowed weakly. 9%. I went to the contacts list, scrolled past a few names, dispatch, co-workers, local repair shops, and then I saw it. Jenna, ex-wife. I hadn't talked to her in almost a year, not since the divorce finalized, but my hands moved before I could stop them. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then she picked up. Her voice was flat, guarded. "Why are you calling me?" I froze. For a second, I didn't know what to say. Then I said the only thing I could. Did I ever disappear before? Silence. Then, what? I swallowed hard. I mean, vanish, black out, forget stuff, go off the grid without warning. Another pause, longer, the kind that makes your gut twist before your brain knows why. "Are you doing it again?" she asked quietly. "Doing what?" "Disappearing, like last time." "I don't remember a last time," she sighed, not angry, just tired. "You never do, that's the problem." The line clicked, not a hang-up, just silence. Call ended. I sat there, phone still pressed to my ear even though the line was dead, listening to nothing. And that's when the fear really settled in. Not from what I'd seen, not from what I'd done, but from the one thing I couldn't deny anymore. This wasn't the first time, and maybe it wouldn't be the last. The rain slowed, not stopped, just softened, like it was catching its breath, like even the sky was holding back now, waiting to see what I'd do next. The windshield was fogged again. The dashboard glowed dim under the smeared glass, casting just enough light to make the shadows feel thicker than they should have been. The kind of darkness that leans in when you blink. I stared at the dead iPhone on the floor. Screen black, the red stone earring beside it. Both quiet now. Still. Then, my phone buzzed. The real one. My phone. I jumped. No ringtone. No name. No number. Unknown caller. I answered without thinking. The voice was the same, only now it was closer. "You've seen enough," it said softly. "It's starting to leak through again, isn't it?" I didn't speak. Couldn't. My mouth felt sewn shut. "You did everything you were asked," the voice continued. Calm, gentle. "You followed every mile, every turn. You promised to forget, and we helped you." I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. The leather was cold, slick with rain off my sleeves. "But now you're curious," the voice said, and it sounded almost amused. "Curiosity is the problem. It always is." I forced out a whisper. "Who are you?" Another pause. Then, "I'm the part of you that remembers." Something shifted in the rearview mirror. I didn't look right away. The voice went on, lower now, like it was right behind me. "You can wake up, or you can go back to sleep. Your choice." A flicker of movement. I turned my head, slowly, toward the passenger seat. Empty, but not empty. A jacket lay there. Dark, heavy, familiar. The exact same one I was wearing. I looked down at myself. Same jacket, same stain on the cuff, same scuffed zipper. Two of the same. One on me, one beside me. And I remembered what the gas station man said. She never got out, just sat there, like she didn't want to be seen. I leaned toward the jacket, reached slowly, fingers trembling, touched the collar. It was warm. Not room temperature warm, body warm. Like someone had just stepped out of it, or hadn't yet. The voice returned, not from the phone this time, from the back seat, right behind my ear. "You're not driving anymore," it whispered. "You watched. Now it's time to choose." I spun around, fast, but there was nothing there. Just the dark, just the rain, just my own shallow breathing. I turned back to the mirror, and that's when I saw it. My reflection wasn't right. It blinked, a half second before I did. It smiled, was slow, wide, too calm, while my own lips stayed frozen. It watched me, and I understood. Too late. I hadn't been driving. Not tonight, maybe not for a long time. I don't remember turning the key, but the engine was running, low idle, soft rumble, like it had always been on, waiting. The rain started again, harder this time, not steady anymore. Angry, heavy drops slapping against the windshield like knuckles. The kind of rain that drowns voices, that covers tracks. I sat still, hands on the wheel, eyes on the mirror. That reflection, it was still smiling, not big, not cartoonish, just a tiny pull at the corner of the mouth, like it knew something I didn't, like it was me, but not all the way. And then it moved, before I did. Just a twitch, a tilt of the head, a blink, out of sync. I stared at it, frozen. My heart didn't race. It just slowed. Like my body was giving up the fight. And for the first time, I didn't feel alone. Not in the comforting way, not in the someone's got your back kind of way. I felt like there was someone inside the truck with me, wearing me from the inside out. And worse, I didn't hate it. There was something peaceful about it, like I didn't have to try anymore. Like the steering wheel wasn't mine to hold, and that was okay. Then, a buzz. My phone lit up again. Block number, one new message. I opened it. There was a photo. It was me, standing at the edge of a cliff, gravel under my boots, mist rising from below, the same jacket, same face, same tired eyes. And beside me, a woman, dark hair pulled back, pale skin, expression frozen in something between fear and resignation. And we were smiling, both of us. My hand rested on her back, firm, possessive, like I was guiding her forward, like I'd done this before. The message underneath said only, "You finished it, now sleep." I looked up from the phone. The road ahead was dark, long, slick from the rain. I shifted the truck into gear. Didn't think, didn't flinch, just drove. Mile after mile, the wipers slicing back and forth, the road humming below. But the mirror never left my gaze, not once. Because the reflection, him, he wasn't just watching anymore. He was mouthing the words I hadn't said yet and smiling. The same smile from the photos, from the window, from the memory I never made. I don't know how far I went, or where I turned off, or what time it is now. I only know one thing. I was behind the wheel, but someone else came back.